Kumite Radio, Asia, Australia, New Zealand, the islands, anywhere you are on the east side, anywhere you are around the world, what's going on? On this episode, I was fortunate to have one of the top lightweight, featherweight in the region, Ting, come on. It was an honor to have him on the podcast. And I wanted to have this podcast kind of like as a conversational style and to kind of get, a more of a back and forth type thing. But it quickly turned into an interview. It wasn't my intention to do that. But, Ev, he did a great job and it is what it is. So here you go. Ev Ting, how you doing?
Yo, what's up, John? Thanks for having me on Kumite podcast. I'm good, man. I'm good to be here.
Yeah, it looks like you look very good. There's nothing you seem very happy, you know, other
Yeah,
than, losing, but you seem very happy and comfortable right now.
yeah. I'm back home in Auckland, New Zealand now. Yeah, it's good to catch up with the family and the team. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you're asking about the experience, I mean, it's definitely one of those tough learning experiences. I went in there, I gave it 100%. I did everything they asked of me, and I really gave it 100%. But you still just come out a little bit short sometimes. But it's okay. Life throws all types of obstacles, and this is definitely not the worst one.
For sure. You're still very young. You're only 27 years old. So you have many years, many fights in front of you. And
For sure, man.
you have two weight divisions that you fight at. So are you going to continue fighting at two different weight divisions?
Yeah, I mean, I want to be a busy. I want to be as busy as I can, especially in the peak of my career. So, whatever makes sense. I mean, whatever's on the table, I'm willing to go there. Obviously, with the new weight cut policy with one championship, they you need to be around your walking weight, and you gotta the hydration is very important. So you gotta yeah you can't really cheat it. So um, yeah, I will be fighting most likely at lightweight for now.
Okay, so kind of talking about that, the weight cutting and kind of like maintaining your weight, right? It's something new in the sport of MMA right now. Um, since you fought at featherweight for a long time and then moving up to lightweight, has it been, it must have been a lot easier and, made your training camps a lot better, hasn't it?
Oh, for sure, man. I mean, for example, I did my last 4 weeks at Bali MMA, and so half of us was fighting on one championship, and then another half of us was competing on other promotions. So half of us was cutting weight throughout the hard intensive training camp, and the other half of us was eating as we were. So you definitely see the difference in energy levels. Um, but it's definitely a much healthier way what we're doing here at One Championship.
For sure. Yeah, it must be a bad experience for the other guys that you're training with, seeing you eating
Yeah,
and, having, being a lot more comfortable in the surroundings and the other guys are wearing suits and, trying to cut all that water out.
for
Um,
sure, man.
uh, you said that you spent uh the first 4 weeks with Auckland MMA, and
That's
then
correct.
you went over to Bali for another 4 weeks.
Yes. So yeah, that's a full camp, about 8 weeks.
All right. So, being in Bali MMA compared to like Auckland MMA, what's the advantages that you see over there?
Okay, so Auckland MMA is always my home gym. I mean, I have my home team here. I got my coach. But the main thing for me, I mean, all my competitions are in Asia, so it makes sense to go at least 2 to 4 weeks earlier just to climatize, just to get used to the time zones and knowing exactly how you're gonna feel during peak. Uh, I mean, peak hours, meaning so we fight every Friday night around. My fight would be the last one around 10, 11 o'clock. So you want to simulate that, and you want to know exactly how you're gonna feel at certain times. So I could do the training camp in Auckland, but for this camp, there was three of us that was fighting on the same show, and another one of my teammates, Anthony Leone, fighting for a world title on ACB. So it made sense to stack everyone up and do a do a do a camp there. Um, but yeah, I mean, climatizing and obviously in Asia it's hotter, so it's much easier to lose weight.
How important is it to have other fighters, in camp while you're in camp, fighting on the same day? How important is that for you?
Um, it's not too important, but like it's there's a program in play, and there's other people like-minded and working towards the same sort of goal. So it's definitely brings a good energy to the program or fight camp. Um, but in saying so, I mean, you got to be much smarter. I mean, you got to be smart with your training camp also, and know how you're gonna perform.
All right, so you're done with your camp, you go to Manila, you do the press, weigh in, all that stuff. Now you're in the fight. Um, the fight, I'm gonna read a quote. Like on Facebook, you wrote that you signed up looking for a fight, but you got shortchanged, right? So what did that actually mean? Could you tell me?
So it's kind of generalized. I mean, it's kind of personal to me. I mean, in my whole career, I feel like I was sold on this idea where you fight for money. I mean, we're prize fighters. We're modern day gladiators. We put on shows. We risk our lives to put on entertainment and entertaining shows for people. So we feel like I feel like I've done everything up to the point, and I'm not saying that I dominated the fight and I did what it took to take the bout, but I mean there was definitely a lot going into it, and I just felt like I was sidetracked. I mean, I was blinded by this whole journey to get this bout that yeah, there was so much more going on, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I, w- in my opinion, like going into this fight, I thought that you guys were matched up so evenly. Like it was so close. Though maybe the only advantage that I saw
Sure.
was that he has been fighting at lightweight for a long time, and you have been going back and forth, right? So,
True.
I thought that it would go to a decision, and it actually went to a decision. And I was
That's good.
surprised. I was surprised on the way, not how you fought, but I was surprised on the way that he fought. Was more of backing up and you kind of pressing forward and attacking him and him trying to, counter and stuff like that. So when you look at the judging criteria, because it went to the judges, what do you
Sure.
think about the judging that happens? Like the way that.
Um, so one championship runs off the global rule set, which is a little bit different to the unified. They favor, I mean not favor, but they allowed knees to the head on the ground, and it's more encouraging for the action to happen, and it also favors the person that's trying to aggressively finish the fight, or who's in the fight. Um, so So yeah, that confused me a little bit. I mean, I feel like I was the one really pushing the pace and trying to make something happen in the fight. But I mean, props to Edward. I don't want to take anything away from his performance. He did exactly what it took to get the W.
After, when they were reading the decision and people were looking at kind of the damage that was done, and if you looked at Edward's face and then if you looked at your face, it pretty much is your face. You didn't seem like you were in a fight, but Edward had damage to his eyes. So a lot of people were thinking that, hey, if it's based on damage, then you should have definitely won the fight. So how do you feel about that? A lot of people supported that you
Oh
should have won the
man,
fight.
yeah. I appreciate you bringing this up, man. Like, I mean, a lot of people has been sending me messages and just giving me the vibe that I did get robbed, but like, I mean, it is what it is. Maybe it just wasn't my time, and it was meant for a bigger purpose. I don't know. Um, but I mean, I think at the end of the day, um, it became. I mean, it might have been a political decision. Who knows? Like it just wasn't my time, and I've accepted that though, and it's a matter of pushing beyond and onwards and forwards from here though. But like much respect to Edward Folayang, the champion, his camp and all that. But I think it wasn't my night.
Yeah, Edward, he comes from a great camp. He's a great fighter. So even, being in the cage with him and like doing what you did it's pretty big accomplishment, I think, even though you didn't win. I'm pretty sure you'll be back fighting him again eventually in the future. So has One FC or One Championship told you anything about like a rematch or anything like that?
I'm pretty sure they will match me up with one or two more guys first. But I'm due for two more fights this year, according to Matt Hume. So I'll probably fill one in KL in August, and probably one more by the year end. So yeah, I'm good to go, man. I mean, if I could, I'll fight every month and get paid for it, But but yeah, I just want to be as busy as possible at the moment.
Um, going back to Bali MMA, uh, recently in the news, like two of your teammates at Bali MMA, Youssef Webe and Gokhan, right? They fought in Korea and
Oh
they
man.
still haven't been paid. Have you talked to them
I
recently?
have actually, man. There's also another fighter, one championship fighter, Igor something.
Yeah.
He was in the main event, and he also did not get paid. So it's frustrating, man. I mean, obviously, I favor fighters, and I see it from a fighter's point of view, and that's crap, man. I mean, like we put out so much time and sacrifice to just pretty much perform, and to not get rewarded for it. That's like the ultimate insult. So I don't know. I mean, I know the promoters are trying to do their job, and I think they I think they put out a date that they might pay up or something. But I don't know. I mean, someone's got to do their job, and they got to make the ends meet.
Really? When you talked to them, how was their spirits? Were they more positive or?
I mean, they were. Um, I think they were fine. I mean, it wasn't money that was gonna make or break them, but like it was their money that should be already there in their accounts. So I mean, obviously the frustration is there, but I think they'll get on with their lives nicely, and then they'll probably eventually get that pay. I mean, hopefully get that pay.
Yeah. It must be very frustrating to him. And then there's a few other fighters that I've talked to. I just recently had Joe Ray on the podcast too, and he hasn't gotten paid either. So he's
It was on
feeling
the same
the
show.
yeah, same show. He's the one who fought Igor.
Oh, ouch. Yes, that's not okay. I mean, I don't know where the promoter is, but they gotta do something about that.
Really. Now you you were you were born in Malaysia, if I'm not correct. Am I correct? You were born in Malaysia and you moved to New Zealand at a young age.
Uh, Born in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, moved over to Auckland, New Zealand. I was 6, so been here for over 20 years, and yeah, just been doing my thing.
All right, so you have, it's rare when you have two different countries supporting you the way they do. Because usually most people they only have one country supporting them, right? So like
Yeah.
Conor McGregor only has like the Ireland supporting him, mostly. So
Mhm.
having two different countries supporting you, how does that feel for you when you go and train and when you fight in front of the crowd and they're screaming for you? What is that feeling like?
I mean, honestly, obviously it's an honor to have the support of two nations. Um, but but I mean, to clarify, I mean, like I was born in Malaysia, and I was raised in New Zealand. I mean, I hope no one is offended by that. And One Championship is an Asian organization, so it makes sense to promote an Asian country. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know why there's such a. I mean, when nations versus nations, and like Olympic styles. I mean, it does make things more exciting, but I think especially in the MMA world, at the end of the day, it's between the fighters, more so there.
Um, yeah, you make a good point of the promotion, like you're raised in New Zealand. Of course, you are Malaysian, but you're raised in New Zealand. You live most of your life there, and it is for promotion wise, it is good thing to kind of promote country versus country. But the point that you made was it is a fighter versus a fighter, and it's kind of like an individual versus an individual. So, they got to do
True.
what they got to do, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if it was the Olympics or for example, the amateur world champs, the MF, then it's cool when it's nations versus nations. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's no biggie. I mean, yeah, it's not a biggie to me. I hope no one's offended by what flag I fly or anything like that.
I don't think anybody would be offended. I think that you're just speaking the truth and you're just giving your opinion. So, no one could get mad about that. Nobody should be offended by that. Um, Now going back to New Zealand, since you've been there for so long, and I heard that you are a referee and a judge around the
Yeah,
locals.
that's correct. Yeah, so
So,
we actually had a big fight night last night at Shuriken Fight Series. But yeah, so yeah, there's a team of us, um, the MMA officials. So we get contracted out to our shows all nationwide, and we pretty much just take care of all the officiating duties, so the promotion doesn't have to worry about it. Obviously, keeping a high level standard.
how long have you been doing that for?
Um, so when I first got into MMA and training, I wanted to be as involved as possible. So I got into that pretty early in my career. So um, I did amateur bouts and all my training over 2 or 3 years. So I recently just got my level 3 or pro cert. So yeah, a good 5 6 years or so.
All right. Um, in New Zealand also, like the fighters in New Zealand, like Daniel Hooker and Kai Kara France and those types of like high level fighters and yourself, seems like you guys support each other, thoroughly. Like throughout like social media, you'll see each other, you guys kind of like reposting each other's fights and stuff like that, and kind of giving words of encouragement. So what, do you guys all know each other? Do you guys all train with each other or?
Yeah, I mean, especially the Auckland crew. I mean, there's the Strike Force boys, there's the City Kickboxing boys, and there's also the Auckland MMA boys. So, when we all reached this international level, we all met up and started training every morning, and they still do it even today. Every morning we're grinding out here, and and it's no secret that we support each other because we know what it's like. We're all on the same grind, and we're in the bottom of the world on this little island on top of Antarctica. So we know what it's like to be hungry, especially in this game of MMA, to get our names out there. So yeah, I mean, we definitely there's room for all of us to grow. And there's a big event coming up in June, UFC. And yeah, we're trying to get Kai on, man. He's a well-deserving candidate.
Yeah, it seems like everybody's trying to get Kai on. Kai's a guy that is very well known in around this area, and yeah, hopefully he does get on the card. How big is MMA though over there? If someone that has not been to New Zealand, how big is it when they go there? What can they expect from like MMA fans? Is there MMA fans all over the place or?
Yeah, I mean it's getting popular for sure, but like mix. I mean, fighting, especially Muay Thai kickboxing, it's been around for decades. I mean, years. But but MMA is coming very popular now as well. But it's definitely not on the same commercial level as let's say Asia.
All right, with in Malaysia, or not in Malaysia, but in New Zealand, who are the new guys that are coming up that you know about, maybe from your camp, that nobody knows about yet, but they're like kind of like a diamond in the rough right now?
So we got two. two aspiring new pro debutants. Ina Manasi, we've got John Bruin coming up. We also got Nyreen, and a few more other guys that's really coming up. And our jiu-jitsu team is coming up really nicely as well. But in New Zealand, man, like Ina Manasi and Baron Shivers last night, they got the fight tonight at this fight Shuriken Fight Series. Man, that fight is definitely a top prospect fight out of New Zealand, and I can't wait to see where they take the next generation. Um, but yeah, man, we got a lot of guys in New Zealand ready to have the opportunity to shine. I mean, we got the also the Vake brothers. We got Shane Young. We got Rod McSwing coming back from retirement. He used to compete against. I don't know if you know the Wolverine, Korean fighter.
The Wolverine. Oh
Uh,
yeah, 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 yeah. I know him. Yes.
yeah. So yeah, his last loss was he lost his belt to him, I think, and then he hasn't fought since last night. So that was his comeback fight, and he's looking good. So um, hopefully we'll see him in the top leagues as well. Um,
Was
yeah,
that
so
in Legend FC?
yeah, correct.
Okay, because you fought in Legend FC too when it was still around.
Yeah, man, that was a great promotion, man. They really looked out for the fighters, and they had a soft spot for the New Zealand guys too. So yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. Do you guys do a lot of the New Zealand guys? Do you guys go over to Australia to fight or to train or?
Um, Early in my career, I went over once, but not so much training. But a lot of New Zealand fighters are going over to fight on their promotions, such as XFC, Brace, and also Aftershock. So there's a few shows there that's quite welcoming to New Zealanders, um, and I mean, got a lot of underdogs, maybe two underdogs that some promoters don't even want to put us on, you know. But like we got a lot of guys ready for their time to shine.
Yeah, the New Zealand, Australia.
How was the scene in Korea?
Oh, it's big. There's so many fight camps and there's about I think 5 different promotions that's going on right now in Korea. So a lot of up and coming guys, still kind of rough around the edges, but they're growing. There's the famous ones, like the
Nice, nice.
Chiduo, the Superboy, and the Zombie, and those guys.
Nah.
But those guys are bringing up the younger guys too, so it should be
Mm.
pretty
Oh
exciting.
yeah, yeah.
Even
Yeah, I was
like new.
fortunate enough to train with the Team Mad guys when they came over to Saigon.
Okay, yeah, they have a
Yes, that
big
was a good
team.
time. Yeah, they did.
They have a big team. They're like a lot of those camps. They're probably like 30, 40, professional fighters in the camp. So, and they're all spread out to different gyms. So it's a pretty
Sure.
it's growing, but we'll see what happens with it. A lot of the guys, they don't last very long either. So if they keep dedicated, it'll be all right. You know?
Yeah, I mean it's a tough sport. A lot of uh, people fall off.
Yeah, a lot of guys, they don't even make it out of the gym. It seems like they can't handle the training long enough to actually, fight enough to like elevate themselves. So it happens a lot in Korea, and I'm pretty sure it happens everywhere around the world. So, you said you wanted to fight, as soon as possible. So, who are some of the, top 5 guys do you see that can get you, faster to that, title shot?
Um, I mean, there's a few guys in the division for sure. I mean, Aoki is a good guy. Who else? I don't know what weight Jadumba is weighing around. He's probably back at featherweight. I know there's a stacked division, man. I mean, I know ONE FC won't struggle.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. We had some technical difficulties, but I think you said what you needed to say, and you expressed your opinion as well. So thank you for coming on, and maybe before your next fight you could come on again and talk about what's going on, and express your opinions about your opponent and stuff like that.
Cool, man. I mean, I appreciate your work, man. Thanks for looking out. But yeah, I mean, any listeners to this podcast, make sure you follow me on my social media and just support the sport and everyone that's on their way up. Um, but yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you.
No problem. And the people that are listening, you guys need to support this guy. This guy is the next guy, or he is the next guy, right? So he's coming up. So you guys need to follow him. And yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
All right, peace. Thank you, man.
All right.